Ok, bienvenidos a todos y a todas. Esta sesión se desarrollará principalmente en inglés, así que les invito a elegir su canal de interpretación simultánea en la parte abajo de su pantalla. Welcome, everyone. My name is David Julian, and I am the Executive Director of the Interamerican Organization for Higher Education, speaking to you today from IOHE headquarters. That's my office in Montreal, located on the unceded indigenous lands of the Canyon Kehaka Nation and Mohawk people. So just a few words to say that I'm having a very good day so far, and this session will probably be the cherry on top of the sundae. We already had the pleasure to receive SDG guru Jeffrey Sachs earlier today. We just logged off an education SDG expert panel with the GUNI network together with leading university presidents. And now we're getting ready to launch our very own IOHE initiatives and a first research grant to support our members' work pursuing the SDGs in a community engaged approach. So without further ado, and before to reveal any scoop, let me then present today's moderator and leader of this initiative, Dr. Joy Johnson, President and Vice Chancellor of Simon Fraser University in Canada. Joy is a renowned researcher, strong advocate on equity, diversity, inclusion, and SDG issues, and that I can proudly mention, member of our directors as Vice President for Canada. Joy, thanks once again for your presence and support. The floor is all yours.
Well, thank you ever so much, David. I'm so glad that this session is the cherry on top of your Sunday today. I'm really looking forward to it as well. It's really an honor to be here today and to join all of you. I want to begin by acknowledging that I am privileged to be speaking to you from Vancouver, Canada, on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coquitlam peoples. In Canada, we just marked the very first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation on September 30th. It's also known as Orange Shirt Day, and it's an annual commemoration recognizing the tragic history of loss and the lasting effects of Canada's residential school system. So on this day, we honor Indigenous residential school survivors, their families and communities as really just a vital process of reconciliation. So today I want to invite our participants to join me in acknowledging the Indigenous communities in your local land and our shared commitment to decolonizing the work that we do together. So take a minute, think about whose lands you are speaking to or joining us from today. I want to thank the Inter-American Organization for Higher Education, fondly known as IOHE, for organizing CHI and inviting us to present this exciting new initiative. We're so proud of our strong and productive relationship with IOHE and its member institutions, and I'm so delighted to be here with our distinguished panelists. As most of you are aware, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, were adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015. And they were adopted really as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. These 17 goals rest on 4 pillars: social development, environmental sustainability, inclusive economic development, and peace and security. And the 169 targets laid out in the SDGs are both broad and ambitious. I think it's really important to note that the 17 SDGs are also integrated with activities in one area having consequences for all the others, and with many problems lying at the intersection of more than one SDG. So this is the decade for action on these goals for various sectors, including higher education, to take up the challenge and to act. Universities have a crucial role to play in achieving this through leadership, knowledge generation, education, campus operations, and public engagement. And I think we all recognize that we're at a critical time where we need to come together on a global scale to inspire climate action and to make positive impact. So together with our community partners, Simon Fraser University is really working hard to address climate change and research for impact. And this includes community engaged research and knowledge mobilization through partnerships. To this end, at SFU, we've been redesigning our sustainability initiatives, strategies, and resources to build on and scale up the good work of the last 2 decades. And part of the redesign that we're engaging in will really help and be informed by the SDGs. At SFU this summer, we launched a project to map SFU's core activities across the university, including research, teaching, learning, campus operations, community and global engagement. And we're trying, at least at our university, to look at how our work aligns with the 17 SDGs. And I know many of you are also engaged in this work. I think we all recognize that broadening our understanding of existing strengths and potential, we can deepen our impact through sustainability initiatives and also global engagement strategies like the ones we're going to be talking about today. Just this morning at SFU, we announced that we have joined the Race to Zero campaign in support of the global effort to address climate change. And joining Race to Zero has deepened our commitment to sustainability and net zero reductions of direct and indirect emissions by 2030. In addition, SFU launched a Sustainable Development Goals website to share how the institution has and is advancing SDGs. We're so proud at SFU that we've been noted in terms of our impact in the Times Higher Education Impact Rankings around SDGs. We ranked in the top 20 universities for our impact in 2020 and in the top 50 in 2021. But we know there's more that we need to do. I think the rankings we all recognize show only a slice of the myriad of activities that take place across our campuses and really show the potential that we can have to address.
Oh, we lost your mic, Joy. No.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Technical difficulties. So,
part of the deal.
Yeah, exactly. So we recognize that what we do internationally needs to be an extension of what we do locally. And that we know that these international partnerships are going to be so important for all of us. And they need to be based on shared values and alignments. So today, our shared commitments to SDGs, along with our partners, we're looking forward to finding ways that we can work together with additional encouragement and tools for international cooperation, like the initiative that we're announcing today. I know that our students, our researchers, and the local community will be better equipped and positioned to apply their knowledge, experience, and skills to address real-world issues. We cannot achieve the SDGs in isolation. The climate crisis is just one intersectional issue, and we know that meaningful action is required, and we need input from many, many groups. So partnerships among higher education institutions are key to mobilizing the information resources and diverse communities and networks needed to co-create solutions to our common challenges and to create a more sustainable, equitable, and inclusive world. And that's what this panel is about, is to talk about this new opportunity. So now I'd like to invite and introduce my colleague and friend, Dr. Philip Steenkamp, President and Vice Chancellor at Royal Roads University in Victoria, Canada. And he's going to be presenting the details of this new research grant and call. Philip, over to you.
Thank you so much, Joy, for that introduction. And I too would like to acknowledge that I am joining you today from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, which is Our campus is on the unceded territories of the Lekwung and the Kusapsan people, indigenous families and ancestors who have lived here for thousands of years and will continue to live here and engage on these lands for the future, of course. I'm so delighted to be joining this panel today. I noticed we have 133 participants, which is fantastic. And I'm so excited to be part of the announcement of this wonderful grant program to support collaboration on the SDGs. As Joy said, I think for many of our universities, the SDGs have become an important kind of organizing framework, and that is the same for our university here. We launched a new vision 2 years ago now with a vision statement, inspiring people with the courage to transform the world, and looking at really trying to make a difference in terms of advancing the SDGs where we could. So I was hugely excited when IOHE approached us about this concept of developing a grant program to support collaboration, because as Joyce said, these are very complex issues and they require all of us to get together and to collaborate. So with that, I know there's probably a lot of interest in learning about the details of the grant program. So I'm just going to give you the technical details, and then we can move on to some of the other panelists. So here we go. So overall, IOHE and a group of 8 Canadian partner universities have raised $100,000 to date to support these collaborative research projects, to look at ways in which we can work together to advance the SDGs. And you can see the list of universities involved here. And I would like to take the opportunity here to thank all of my colleagues at these universities for their contributions so we could get this going, because I think if we can demonstrate success on this front, I think we will attract significant attention and more support as we proceed. And Canadian partner institutions will provide seed funding of up to $10,000 per project to conduct projects which will range from a year to a year and a half in length. So the objectives here are, as Joy has mentioned, really to promote collaboration and partnership among IOHE members, and also between members and local communities. And I think that's a really important point to make. We really want to see an emphasis on engaging with local communities, whether that's through NGOs or other organizations, so that we can advance the implementation of the UN Agenda 2030 through the creation of knowledge that is locally applicable and globally relevant. And we all know from our work in community engaged research how important it is to engage communities in that kind of work. The second objective really is to learn from exemplary partnership models between higher education institutions and communities to further the SDGs, so we can apply that for use by others in our networks as well. And we will, Simon Fraser University and Royal Roads University also applying for a Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council grant, a partnership grant, so that we can actually assess the effectiveness of this program too and see what is really working over time. Now, the projects can focus on implementing either one of the SDGs or a number of the SDGs in a given region, or also on improving the capacity of our institutions to address the SDGs either in our curriculum or in our research or in our engagement with community and in other partnerships as well. So moving to eligibility, again, just to reiterate that the projects should address one or more of the SDGs, and as I mentioned, promote the inclusion of SDGs, in our learning and our teaching and our research and our outreach generally looking at promoting the fulfillment of Agenda 2030. In terms of partners, the research project must include at least one international partner from another member country of the Americas. So the whole point of this really is for us to reach out and collaborate across jurisdictions. So we, of course, will invite multiple partners too, but it must at least involve one international partner from another member country. And as I've already said, we will be giving priority to projects that engage local community partners, not only in the work, but actually in the definition of the project itself and as the project proceeds. Application process, we're going to keep this as simple as possible, but we are proposing a grant application process which will have a two-stage adjudication process. A letter of intent, stage 1 by December 5th of this year, and then a full proposal by February 25th of next year, with anticipating the start of projects in April. And obviously we will be providing more detail on exactly what that entails as well. Now, in terms of institutional requirements, just a few sort of useful pointers here. We are looking for applications to be submitted by a member or a team of members from an institution that's a member of IOHE. Now, institutions are welcome to submit more than one application, of course, but they must be members of IOHE. And the applications should be submitted electronically. We would also like to see authorization by research grants offices or your equivalents of those grants offices. And that's done really to ensure that there is support from the institution for the application, because I think institutional support and institutional backing for these applications is going to be very important. We also ask that institutions who are applying must be up to date with the IOHE members' obligations, and those are stated in Article 12 of the Declaration of Principles and Statutes. I can't remember off the top of my head what Article 12 says, but I'm sure David could tell us if there is that question. But if you could ensure a compliance with Article 12, that would be great. And also we're asking that the principal investigator must be affiliated with the applicant institution, so that there will be a letter of institutional support for the project as we proceed. And that really wraps up the kind of technical side of this. I would like to, however, take the opportunity to thank the people who were involved in putting this program proposal together. So I want to thank all the folks at IOHE who worked so hard on this, the folks at all the other institutions. And in particular, I want to thank a member of faculty from Aurora Rhodes University, Dr. Leslie King, who's kind of led this work, I know, with support from fabulous research assistants and others. But I really want to thank Leslie for taking the lead on this. It was one of those conversations where, you know, Leslie, of course, is a very busy faculty member, so I had to draw her in slowly, but I knew she would be interested in helping with this work, and she's done a fabulous job with support from the great teams. And as you can see, it's been a collaborative effort, and it's inspired a lot of excitement here among the institutions who've been involved. And we hope that many of you who are on the panel today, and I notice 152 participants, will get your applications in, and we can of course address any technical questions you might have. IOHE will have further information and further details for you on all of this. So thank you, Joy, for that opportunity just to run through the basics of the program. Thank you.
Well, thank you ever so much, Philip. And I want to thank Aurora Rhodes as well, in particular, and for just really spearheading, taking the pen on this, helping us with this. Really appreciate it. It really has been a team effort. And thanks for that great overview. I want to say people probably should take note of some of the people participating in the call today. If you're looking for partners, here's a great kind of list of partners that you might be able to reach out to. So let's turn now to our next speaker, Professor Valerie Emeraude, Vice President, Community and international partnerships at Université de Montréal in Canada. I'm really so pleased that you could join us today, Valerie, and I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Thank you so much, Joy. I'm talking tonight from Brussels, so I'm not in Montreal, I'm not in Quebec, I'm in Europe. So it's rather a good evening to everyone, that a good afternoon. I'm extremely pleased, as my colleagues mentioned earlier, to be part of this panel, because I think it's really nice and joyful to see such a collective engagement in such an ethical and political topic that really has the possibility to unite us all as academics and as part of higher education institutions. So I've been asked to give you a glimpse of what we're doing at Université de Montréal when it comes to community partnerships and international partnerships in relation with SDGs. So I have a short presentation. So David, if this gives me the possibility to start with a few introductory remarks. So first of all, to say that at Université de Montréal, we didn't start yesterday, of course, looking forward to supporting the development of initiatives in relation with SDGs. So this afternoon, I shall mostly present some of our stronger structuring initiatives that are aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals outlined by the United Nations in 2015 to reach necessary conditions to ensure global long-term prosperity. And I will in particular insist on improved education and health, the reduction of inequalities, and peace, of course. And one of the primary objectives, I think, of our collaborations as a higher education institution and universities with the local and international community partners is to address global challenges on a local scale. And I think we very often use glocalization as a concept, but child education, youth employment, working conditions, the economic empowerment of women, job creation, entrepreneurship, name them all, the development of digital technology capacities, instructor and facilitators training. Everyone talks about globalization when it comes to this specific topic, and this is firmly embedded in the Vice Rectorate for Community and International Partnerships at the Université de Montréal. So this first slide is giving you an idea of our mandate, a quick overview, I don't want to be too long on that, of the mission and the vision. First, I have to say that I mentioned earlier that the Université de Montréal didn't start just yesterday thinking about these SDGs, but the Vice Rectorate I'm in charge of was created only 1 year ago, June 2020. So it merges two portfolios, community partnerships, international partnerships, into a single mandate, very integrated, one into the other. And it's for the very first time that these two portfolios come as one at our university. And this was conceived and done to break the silos that tend to naturally occur in large higher education institutions when it comes to such objectives such as SDGs. So far, 16 months later, I can tell that this synergy benefits both the partners and us as institution. So our mission, to give an overall view, is to build responsible, ethical, and civic-centered partnerships that anchor the Université de Montréal in local and international social, economic, cultural, and political realities. So this leads to a more strategic international and community relations to develop collaborative initiatives that have a positive and measurable impact on society's greatest challenges, highlighted tonight in the initiative that gathers. So our vision is, first of all, to federate and then to mobilize everyone invested in knowledge circulation and motivated to create sustainable relations in a global culture of community and international engagement. So a few words now on the approach. If you move to the next slide, David. First of all, I shall start with community and international partners, the external partners. They are extremely diverse, as you may imagine, and they encounter us in very different ways. So our main goal here at the VP is to remain accessible. So accessibility is probably the word I use the most in my daily life. Remaining accessible, listening to the needs, and finding the right way to help fulfill those needs, staying still in the framework of the university mission. And I think this is really, really important. We are universities. we are not NGOs, we are not governments, so we have to stick with the teaching, training, and research mission, and also service to the collectivities. But this is our framework for action, and we should keep that in mind when we engage in SDGs. For example, let me give you a very, very recent example. During the COVID-19 pandemic, a number of community organizations in Montreal were the beneficiaries of philanthropic funding so that they could face and deal with the crisis. So they came to us, the local university, and they invited us as research partners to carry out a study on how the borough residents experience the crisis and to identify ways to improve community services on a midterm perspective. So this is a typical example where we have been personally engaged. And when I say personally, I was in charge of these research reports. We are just publicizing them in a couple of weeks. We're fine-tuning them together with the communities on the basis of this incredible situation we have all been going through. So this is a good example of the way we've been able to be agile and reactive to something that was needed on the moment. On the next slide, I just wanted to put the emphasis on the members of the university community, because thinking about SDGs means also thinking about the way we engage our community inside. So at the beginning of the mandate, roughly 16 months ago, I spent hours really meeting the potential internal partners, the deans, the directors of schools, of departments, but also the professors that are perceived as champions of community work. And the objective of this meeting, these long hours, very, very pleasant, was to collect and understand their strengths, but also the challenges and priorities, and to share with them the vision we have as an institution, but also new ways of engaging them, paying also attention to their other part of the agenda, that is teaching, training, publishing, researching, so that the engagement in collectivity work and community work doesn't come as an obstacle of the rest of the activities of the teaching communities. So one of these resulted in the creation of thematic forums with representatives from each faculty, both at the international and community level, and communities of practice with professors. So we meet now once every 6 weeks, and we have a common agenda to work on these collective initiatives. On the next slide, I want to give you a glimpse, an idea of specific projects we have. The first one that you see on the left side, and I kept the titles in French, are the Jardin Éphémère. The Jardin Éphémère, it's a community project with neighborhood organizations in urban agriculture on unoccupied land that we own as universities. So together, we counter food insecurity and share knowledge in multiple ways, including redistribution of hundreds of kilos of vegetables each year by food banks, but also school and day camp visits, a summer program that includes cultural and scientific public conferences on various topics of interest to citizens. So we first gather what they want to be listening to, and then we organize the conferences. The second example, the one that is in the middle of the slide, is called L'Extension. It's probably known by some of you because it was presented in a previous edition of the CAI conference. It's an education and health support center that was created by 3 deans, the Dean of Education, the Dean of Optometry, and the Dean of Dentistry, to provide free services to elementary school children in one of Montreal's poorest neighborhood, Parc Extension. In addition, this integrated clinic provides an innovative training space for the students, and it's becoming a coveted model that other programs, other faculties like speech therapy, occupational therapy, nutrition, social work want to join and engage with. The last example I wanted to mention, I'm particularly proud of, are the VPs, my VP, the VP summer camps. So there are thematic summer camps. It's an initiative created in the first year of the mandate to make our campus more accessible to underrepresented populations and to encourage school perseverance. So in collaboration with community partners, local ones in the neighborhood, Parc Extension, Côte des Neiges, and also neighborhood in the east of Montreal, we offered free spots in a week-long day camp that allows teenagers to have fun on campus grounds while exploring various fields of study. This year, the camp that was held in summer 2021 focused on music and sports, and it was managed by the Faculty of Music. We had 36 students, Half of them were on a fellowship from the university, and we've been following them since they came back to school, and the impact of this summer camp was extremely beneficial and positive for them. On the next slide, I just wanted to give you also an idea of what we can achieve still in the SDG perspective when it comes to international initiatives and projects. So again, 3 examples. The first one, very, very quickly. The first one is the Observatoire de la Francophonie économique. It's an international center, information clearinghouse for issues linked with the economic francophonie. Our observatory conducts studies and undertakes activities within 4 main areas: youth training, networking, enhancing capacity building and public policy, and last but not least, supporting evidence-based decision-making. The observatory promotes evidence-based analysis to maximize the effectiveness of policy interventions. And of course, during the COVID-19 pandemic, it has been extremely engaged and active in various contexts and with various collaborators. It has produced public policy reports that are all available on the website, available for larger citizenry, for decision makers, and it provides in-depth analysis of economic conditions and the challenges relating to entrepreneurship in particular, and employment opportunities for, again, 2 specific segments of population, youngsters and women. Second initiative, the one in the middle, it's skills for employment in the Francophonie program. So this is something that will end next year. It involves Global Affairs Canada, and it's a collaborative project between the Université de Montréal and 4 other higher education partners: Université Mohamed V in Rabat, Université de Marrakech, and Saint Joseph University of Beirut, and Balamant University still in Lebanon. And the project is designed to develop solutions to reinforce their governance, but also to improve training programs that better match employment skills with labor markets, and to enhance cooperation between the participating universities and the private sector. And last but not least, the Réseau IGEA since 2016. This is very, very keen to my heart. It promotes collaboration in the fields of health, community, public health, nursing, law, social work, and economics. And it has worked to improve health services delivery to women with the West African Health Organization and with the Panzi Foundation that was established by the famous Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Professor Mukwege, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So these initiatives focus on strengthening human resources health services, and they are properly designed to promote a rather holistic approach that advances women's socio-economic status and educational levels. So I have plenty other examples, but I don't want to take too much time. Just want to go to the next slide and insist on the fact that developing community and international partnership does come with efforts on structures and resources. I think one of the first level where we have to keep attention focused in our institutions is governance. So within Université de Montréal, we work with a statement of principles that we co-designed during last year to make the foundation of our work explicit and available, accessible, clear to all parties involved. So we've established 3 basic principles. The first one is to foster knowledge and appropriation of the university's engagements to facilitate their integration throughout our activities. The second one is to support all members of our community in their partnerships to ensure success and boost outreach. And the last one is to recognize and appreciate our community members and our partners' experiences to sustain the development of a culture of engagement. So it means also that in terms of visibility and outreach, what universities can offer and share with the community locally and internationally in terms of classes, research projects, expertise, resources, must be adequately visible and accessible. Best kept secrets help no one. Then being involved in civil society organizations, for instance, being a board member on the local consultation table, the active participation in civic-oriented and international academic networks, such as the one that gathers us tonight, will lead you, I think, to opportunities for co-developing SDG-related projects. Last thing, fundings. Funding, I think, is important and has to be mentioned. Many efforts have been achieved in our university, but also in other, I think, institutions to find the necessary funding, to diversify sources, that is including philanthropy, of course, external watch for public funding opportunities abroad, internal pre-competition and support services for funding applications in international cooperation, development projects, seed funding, like the research grant we're advertising tonight. As a word of conclusion, on the last slide, David, I firmly believe that local response fits more. Localization with community partners is an efficient way to secure the advancement of SDG goals. It induces community-based changes, and there is a crucial need to consider new approaches or to scale up innovative models that will allow universities to maximize their resources, both humanly and financially. The SDG research grant that we advertise tonight is a good example. Interactions between partners should be horizontal, balanced, meaning that all partners should fully participate in a relationship built on equality and reciprocity. It is also a unique occasion, I think, to mobilize in common structuring activities, academia, students, and society. And I'm extremely glad that our university, Université de Montréal, has been part of this collective effort. So I thank you, and I give you the floor back, Joy.
Well, thank you very, very much, Valerie, for that tour. That was incredible, learning about the way in which Université de Montréal has really embarked on globalization, and so many great lessons, lessons about how to create these partnerships, lessons about governance, and some great examples for all of us to be thinking about as we start to rally our people and think about how to take advantage of this funding opportunity. And really want to also thank Université de Montréal for being a partner on this opportunity. It's really exciting, I think, to see Canadian universities stepping up in this regard. This, though, is about global partnerships. And I think it's so appropriate today to not simply hear from our wonderful Canadian universities, but also hear from one of our partners who hopefully will be also thinking about opportunities to take advantage of this funding opportunity. So our final speaker today is Dr. Natalia Ruiz-Rogers, who is the Vice President Research at the Universidad El Bosque in Colombia. Really pleased to have you with us today. And so with no final ado, I'll hand over the virtual podium to Dr. Ruiz-Rogers.
Thank you, Joy. Good afternoon for all of you. I'm really glad to share with you this opportunity to work together to get the goals of the agenda. If you don't care, I will share the screen, and if it's any possible, okay. I don't know if I can switch to Spanish. We have a lot of people, Spanish speaker, so I would like to give the talk in Spanish. There is a button down, and that you can change the language if you like. But I don't know if you're. Sorry.
We are not seeing your slides yet.
Sorry. I don't know what.
That's okay.
Okay. Just a second. Is asking me more safe security questions. I don't know why, but just a second, please.
We've all been there. We all know the difficulties faced with these types of presentations. So please take your time.
Okay. Okay, so let me see if there's any option. Oh no, doesn't allow me to.
David, do you happen to have a copy of the
No,
slide?
I was just going to say, Natalia, if you quickly want to send that by email, I could share it from this side, if that's doable. And you can start. I'll just recap once I receive it.
Perfect.
That's great. Takes a village, doesn't it? Look at us partnering already and solving these technical problems. That's great. And I'm assuming, Natalia, that you have the email to send to David?
I'm looking for it.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. I feel like the radio commentary.
Someone from your team, María Claudia, me la mandó ya. Natalia, la voy a poner en pantalla.
Oh, fantastic.
Gracias, María Claudia. Perfecto, listo.
Oh, yeah.
Estoy en tus manos, David.
Yeah, hold on a sec, it's just loading. Here we go.
Thank you.
Just word.
Ok. Bueno, nuevamente mil gracias a todos por esta oportunidad. David, no sé si podemos ponerla en pantalla completa. Perfecto. Gracias. Pues realmente, si uno analiza el papel de las universidades, puede pensar que el ejercicio diario de formar personas, de entregar graduados a la sociedad con las mejores calidades, con el mejor espíritu, pues puede ser una gran contribución a los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible, es parte de nuestro quehacer. Sin embargo, yo soy una convencida, creo que las universidades pueden hacer muchísimo más, pueden ir más allá cuando hablamos de aportar a la agenda al 2030, una agenda de un desarrollo sostenible para todos. En esa medida, pues creo que voy a darles y les agradezco esta oportunidad de compartir con ustedes lo que hacemos en la Universidad del Bosque, lo que hemos hecho en la Universidad del Bosque. Poder lograr esto depende de varias cosas. La primera es que tenemos prácticamente en el ADN, es una universidad joven que hace 44 años nació como universidad, como escuela de medicina. Luego, en nuestra misión, en nuestro espíritu, en nuestro ADN, está eso, está la calidad de vida, está el bienestar de las personas, está el aportar a la sociedad y a las comunidades eso que se requiere para transformar la sociedad. En ese sentido, podemos nosotros día a día, con lo que hacemos, aportar no solo a nuestros estudiantes o nuestros profesores, sino a la comunidad en Colombia o a nivel internacional, porque siempre lo hemos considerado así. Podemos pasar. Adicionalmente, no solo en la misión, sino como institución lo tenemos en nuestro plan de desarrollo. En nuestro último plan de desarrollo, que termina este año, hemos declarado eso, hemos declarado el ejercicio y el continuo aporte que debemos hacer a esa agenda de la UNESCO. Adicionalmente, hemos liderado y hemos apoyado lo que es la agrupación de universidades colombianas. Aquí la llamamos ASUN por sus siglas. Entonces, en esta medida, a través de esa unión entre universidades colombianas para aportar a los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible, aportamos y lideramos también. Específicamente, entendiendo, por ejemplo, qué es esto del acceso con calidad a la educación cuando tenemos diferencias tan altas, tan solo a nivel de país. Una cosa es la educación en las ciudades y otra cosa es la educación en la ruralidad. Pero creo que no solo nos pasa en Colombia, pasa en muchos países del mundo, donde la diferencia de acceso a la educación es gigantesca. De esta manera, estamos continuamente apoyando. La segunda es a través de los proyectos de investigación. Como tenemos en ese ADN ese compromiso con la comunidad de transformar a través de la investigación, podemos hacer el seguimiento a los proyectos en cada uno de los ODSs y cómo esos proyectos afectan o impactan o benefician a las personas en diferentes regiones a nivel nacional o internacional. Por decir algo, nuestro objetivo en salud, por ejemplo, que es salud y bienestar, es el más fuerte en la medida que tenemos este desarrollo en investigación en salud. Que cualquier proyecto en investigación, generalmente en salud pública, relacionado con enfermedades tropicales que nos aquejan tanto, hacemos que además de esa investigación básica que se requiere para desarrollar el campo científico, podamos aportar a las comunidades. Y así lo podemos hacer con los diferentes proyectos o los diferentes objetivos acorde a esos proyectos. De tal manera que en los últimos años hemos podido contar con más de 20 proyectos liderando los objetivos o ligados para liderar los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible. Podemos seguir. Adicionalmente a lo que hacemos por el carácter institucional y el propósito institucional, a la investigación que hacemos con un objetivo de transformar la sociedad, tenemos también todo el ejercicio que hacemos desde la responsabilidad social. Proyectos que también aplicados a objetivos de desarrollo sostenible, como el 3, que tiene que ver con salud, nos permite decir, bueno, ¿a cuántas personas hemos hecho algo para transformar esas vidas, para transformar su situación de bienestar? Igualmente, ¿cuántos recursos podemos como institución empezar a orientar y aplicar para tener entonces proyectos con mayor impacto? Lo hacemos con investigación, lo hacemos con responsabilidad. Y adicionalmente, entonces, trabajamos con algo básico, que es nuestros estudiantes, cómo a nuestros estudiantes y a muchas personas, porque no siempre uno se da cuenta que no todo el mundo conoce lo que es la Agenda 2030, no todo el mundo conoce cada uno de los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible, qué meta o qué submeta tiene. Entonces, en esa medida, trabajamos con los estudiantes para que ellos entiendan qué es esto, cuál es su responsabilidad como ciudadanos y posteriormente como profesionales, y cómo entonces podemos ir logrando que ellos sean esos futuros inspiradores que acompañen este proceso. Seguimos, por favor. Lo hacemos a través de conferencias, de charlas. Tenemos una cátedra especial que no es solo para estudiantes, sino es abierta a todas. En la primera cátedra, que era a nivel de toda Latinoamérica, era en español, tuvimos más de 1.700 participantes que semanalmente se unían a nosotros para hablar cada semana de un ODS diferente. Y obviamente tenemos los reportes que nos permiten entonces mostrar cómo como institución educativa, como universidad, podemos nosotros hablar de responsabilidad social con un impacto. Siguiente, por favor. Y por último, adicional a la estructura, a la investigación, al desarrollo social y al desarrollo que podamos tener con nuestros estudiantes, somos unos convencidos de que la mejor manera de entender las metas y poder aportar es midiéndolas. Entonces estamos en una constante medición y reporte de esas metas a través de las publicaciones, a través de poder nosotros aportar a todos los ejercicios que se hacen desde las oficinas de gobierno, del Estado nacional, como es la Oficina de Planeación Nacional, o a través también de los reportes que se sacan con el Ministerio de Educación. Esto parecería muy sencillo, pero a veces no lo es tanto. Medir el impacto no es fácil, como ustedes lo saben. Estar ahí concentrados en cómo aportamos a una meta global es realmente del día a día y el trabajo de muchas personas en la universidad. Esto hace entonces que cuando podemos pues, visibilizarnos en una escala de cómo institución, cómo aportamos, podamos ver a nivel de unos rankings mundiales el puesto que tenemos o el puesto que tenemos a nivel nacional, un quinto lugar, un primer lugar tenemos a nivel nacional cuando hablamos de salud y bienestar. Nuestro ADN, nuestro compromiso con los recursos, con la investigación y el posicionamiento que vamos logrando con estas metas. Esto es tan solo un resultado que se da. Nadie busca salir en este ranking, nadie piensa, pero es ese principio estructural, ese desarrollo que hacemos y la medición que hacemos. Creo que eso es posible. Creo que las universidades tenemos ese gran compromiso con todos. Y en esa medida se ven los resultados. Por eso creo que pues, esta convocatoria a todos los países en Latinoamérica es un aliciente. Y quería contarles esta experiencia, quería mostrarles de una forma sencilla cómo podemos aportar, porque creo que en la alianza, como nos comentaban ahorita, la doctora Valerie, con todo este ejercicio de cooperación enfocado, organizado, podemos en varios países de Latinoamérica presentarnos en unión, en alianza, para poder, así es cierto, hacer esta traza, este seguimiento más global a lo que hacemos cada uno en nuestras instituciones. Gracias por esta oportunidad. Bienvenidos a todos aquellos que quieran unirse a esta convocatoria. Creo que será un gusto enorme para todos trabajar juntos. Y gracias, David, por salvarme la vida.
Well, thank you ever so much, Natalie. That was very, very impressive. You took us again on a wonderful tour of the work that your university is doing in SDGs. I was so impressed with 5,400 participants in a course on SDGs. That is very impressive. But also, as you closed, you really emphasized the importance of measurement. What gets measured gets done. And to remind us of that, to really to think about how we actually can track the impact of this work, I think is such an important reminder. So I want to thank you for that as well. This has been a great tour of different universities' takes on where they're going with the SDGs. I hope that those who are participating today really sense our excitement about this opportunity. As has been mentioned by Philip, the proposal information, the link to it has been placed in the chat. So please take a look at the website, send your questions in if you have any, and start to get organized with your partners. We're really looking forward to seeing a strong participation in this call for proposals. So I want to thank all of our panelists today. I've really enjoyed listening to all of you. I've taken notes. I think we can all learn from each other. It's really been terrific. And so with no further ado, I will pass it back to you, David. And I want to, before I do, I just want to thank you again for all your efforts and to the whole team for making this initiative possible. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy, and thanks to all three panelists. I'm really thrilled about what I heard, and I guess both of the institutional initiatives that were shared just give us motivation to continue this work. So just in closing, since we have a couple more minutes, I just want to reinforce that as it was mentioned, of course, this is a membership-based initiative, so we invite all members to join. If you're not an IOHE member, it is possible to join and become available for that. So please visit there. We have a virtual stand in the conference. You can visit us. And also an invitation, if you feel that you could play a role in supporting the project, we have 8 Canadian institutions who are part of the consortium. It's a seed funding for a first round of funding. We hope that with the results, we can go further, and we'll definitely try to increase those amounts next year. So if you feel that you could contribute, also feel free to reach us. And the last thing I want to say is that as we were speaking, and I will share my screen once again, we went live on the website. So if you log in our website, and you can see that here, it's oe-iohe.org. There is a new option in programs under funding research, and you'll see the request for proposal is now live with everything that was mentioned by Philip. Requirements, applications, and there is the link to a special form for the first stage that you can fill with the different requirements, where you will be able to attach the different letter of support and other documents, and that is available in French, Spanish, Portuguese. So feel free to log in and find the details. I also want to say that my colleague, Fernando Daniels, who's our Director of Program Development, will be responsible for this. We created a new sdg@oe-iohe.org email, where you will be able to send your questions, and we're finalizing an agreement with Universidad del Bosque precisely to work on the coordination and be able to have someone responding to your questions between now and December 5th for the first round, and then all of those who will be shortlisted for the second round. So voila. Again, thanks to all for your time. I'm very happy to see strong participation. That pretty much wraps up our day one of CHI 2021. Greetings, and we will all see you tomorrow.